The Party Poker Premier League is back as heat number 5 continues here in Montreal. This unique structure offers the 12 invited players the chance to play 4 heats and tally up as many points as possible in the league. The ultimate goal is a seat in the Premier League final table.
That's so tilting.
You're so hopeless, it's amazing.
Ooh, I call.
You play that garbage?
Wow. I gotta be ready to hug you.
Very strange, Vanessa, very strange. This is not normal poker. This is like fun style points like this and that.
Premier League stuff is sick, bro.
Now in its 7th season, the Premier League is one of the most talked about events in poker. It's the fascinating dynamics that the league and point structure create that makes it such a special event.
So far, Jeff Gross took a chunk of chips off Colman. Jungleman got angry.
How does this constantly happen? Sorry. This cannot have the best hand when anyone has anything.
Laak forgot how to play poker.
I do not have a flush, and that hurts me so bad because I know if I had a 5 high flush, I would have bet 1 pair.
All right, well, we still got a street to come.
I've never seen that. Oh my God! That's serious? That takes the cake, ladies and gentlemen.
And Rast made the call of the century.
This has to be a bluff. Okay, this has to be a bluff. I don't think I could respect myself tomorrow if you bluffed me here.
See, they call.
He's the best! He is the best!
Rast the Nader! Ladies and gentlemen! I am Rast. Who's the best? You're the best!
I knew he was gonna. I was talking myself out of it, and then I just re-upped. I just put the balls on the table and said, it's time to go home. Go big or go home.
I had Brian Rast with me, and you made a really big call against Phil Laak. I mean, if you're wrong there, that's basically the tournament for you. So what plays into you making that call?
Well, I mean, it's a spot where Phil knows that if I call, I would have been out, and basically my Premier League would have been over. So it seemed like something he might try. So even though, I mean, I was not getting a good price on the call, I mean, there was, I think, 35K in the middle and
Don't bluff
200.
the Rast. Don't bluff. I knew he was going to call 50, so I said I'll just jack it all in. How can he call? But that's a play that might work for your average player. Don't try that at home with Rasty. You know?
I know. here's the thing. The truth is that I have to tell you, I would say 99.9% of people are not even, like, that would never pass through their mind.
Right.
Like the idea of going all in for 200. But like Phil is super tough because he's like willing to.
By the way,
he's really willing to try
like
anything.
A pair of some low pair would have done the same thing. I knew he had ace queen.
Yeah, I mean, I knew Phil knew what I had, so I knew if he had like.
You're the best.
Whatever.
He's the
but
best.
I just thought he was bluffing. You know, that's what it came down to.
They're bluffing or they're not.
Yeah.
Just 32 hands played, and it's been non-stop entertainment. Out in the lead, Jeff Gross thanks Dan Coleman's early chip donation. Second, with what must be one of the greatest calls of all time, Brian the King Rast. Koon and Shak well in the running, but for Jungleman and Laak, it's been a roller coaster ride. There are 4 players in this heat who are playing their last heat, and 4 who have 1 more to come after this. And there's certainly more pressure on the guys whose last chance it is to post a score, especially Jungleman, Phil Laak, and Jason Koon.
Absolutely, and how Jason does in this heat is going to directly affect how I play my last heat, 100%. And that goes for Antonio as well.
Well, what about, and if Jungleman wins, I guess that's the only thing you're slightly, I mean, if he could have 31.
Yeah, if Jungleman wins, that's going to be, he's going to have 31 and I'm going to have 26. And that means that I need to get at least, what, 5th place in order to tie him?
Yeah, and then you'd have to actually look and see what the tiebreak, who's ahead on tiebreakers.
Right.
Fold.
I had to call you.
What happens in that situation?
Well, there's 3 tiebreakers, and I'm nearly positive because everything's so bunched that they're gonna come into play. The first tiebreakers is number of firsts, number of seconds, number of thirds, and then the second tiebreaker is head-to-heads. So how you did in the heats when you both played with each other.
Okay.
But
so that's good for me because I've won one.
yes.
Okay, but in order for me to be in a bad spot, Jungle has to win, so he would have won one as well.
Right. I mean, you'll be able to figure out the tiebreaker scenarios really before the heat starts tomorrow.
Right.
I think.
With one rabbit, I get to see and I
C1 raise, 25,000 total.
You run good. That run pretty good.
The people who are in the middle of the pack are rooting for
Call.
What happens after
the guys who have a lot of points to win.
same rolls as double?
And I think I'm rooting for the people who don't have a lot of points to win to block those spots for the people in the middle of the pack.
It's about to finish.
By the way, Dan Colman has check raised this flop from the big blind against Jungleman's under the gun open. Check raised with the 10 high and has now led the turn. And how strong a case is he making that he has a 5 here?
One of the toughest.
I mean,
Call.
it's. I think that he's got a 5. If he has a hand, it's a 5. If he doesn't, it's a complete bluff. Wow. Wow. That is incredible. He just has so much heart.
And this was the plan. This was the plan when he check raised the flop, right?
Absolutely. He has to do this. If he's going to check raise the flop and bet the turn, he has to fire the river.
I think you might be bluffing, actually. Like 8-6 or something.
Wow.
Snap move all in on that river.
Wow, Jungle, be a hero.
Jungle might do it. There's been a lot of heroes.
Seems so bluffy that you just snap move in there. Or like a 6-7 or something. Some weird hand like that.
So at this point, Jungle knows that Dan has a 5 or nothing.
I think you would try to bluff me too. Do you think I just like won't call because whatever? Be like, you rivering a 6 or something like that, or just like some weird draw.
I mean, Daniel seems very composed.
I love the way his mind works. He was onto this so quick.
I don't know, you could be bluffing.
Oh!
the bluff. Yeah,
Please show the bluff.
Come on, hurt.
That's a bluff.
Hurt the jungle. With ace jack, I
He
call
did.
him to the
Did he show it?
No.
Oh. Wow. I really thought Jungle was going to make the call after the whole monologue he gave about, I really think you could
So
be
ridiculous.
bluffing, and it just kind of feels like it.
Yeah. You know what's incredible at Jungleman is that he tanked for like 45
Huh?
seconds, and in
I
those
gave the
45
answer.
seconds, his brain went through the exact number of computations that Rast did in like 8 minutes. You know what I mean?
So
He
bluffy.
went through, like,
Right.
he's just such a quick thinker. Like,
It seems so bluffy, but I mean, you can have like a number of hands as well, and then
Jungle, we've been in this position before in many things. In poker, we both had the double up, and we started doing that in staying out in the cold and getting 31,000 or 20,000.
at this
We just
stage,
do it.
if Jungleman
So, like,
ends up
poker
going
is
out,
just
just folding himself
double
down
up.
to the nubbins and going out 8th, I mean,
Let's do it.
I don't know. I don't know. He may destroy the set.
No, just because they were like that. That's fine.
It's not looking too good for him, but he's still got a
Yeah, no
shot.
problem.
He's still got a pretty decent shot at making the heads up, as long as he racks up some points here.
Well, like,
I
do you think just even 2 points might be enough? I mean, it's really, how many is enough?
Yeah, well, we have Antonio, who's only played 2 heats, so a lot of, it's really easy and convenient to discount him because he's low on the point board. But we have to remember that he's still got 2 heats to play.
Fold.
So, it's gonna be very difficult for Antonio not to surpass Daniel if he doesn't have a good showing here.
Total.
And then Phil, this is his last heat, and
Fold.
he's slightly behind Jungleman. So
Right. Jungleman needs to outlast Laak for sure.
Jungleman needs to outlast Laak, yeah.
Jeez, I'll tell you what. Jungle's just 3-bet Brian Rast here, and it feels like if Brian Rast shoves here, I mean, Jungle should only be calling with premium hands, and I wonder if Brian has just decided, well, Jungle is just so tilted, he don't care.
Yeah. I don't like this call from Rast. I think it's one of those spots where you have to either shove or fold. you know, he just doesn't have the implied odds to hit a set. And I think in a cash game it would be okay, you know, because if the stacks were a lot deeper. But in this spot, I feel like he has to make a decision pre-flop with this particular hand.
Well, you know, we know the jungle is super tilted, but if this thing gets checked down and Brian Rast is allowed to win this with pocket deuces, I mean, he's not going to stay silent.
No, he's not, and I don't think it's ever going to get checked around. I think at some point one of them is going to bet.
If you show me a hand that I can beat,
bet 27,000.
I will be shocked. I can think of like one hand, or I can think of like 3 hands, but they're all better in value than mine.
Fold.
Well, why have you erased them?
I like the only thing I can have. It's not like a. I don't have.
Maybe we should play tighter jungle. Without that.
I guess Antonio let him de-steam a little, and the needling is continuing.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, you should loosen up a little, jungle. I think the cold really got
Play
to you.
looser, jungle. It doesn't work out. Trust me.
I don't need advice.
I tried that.
Sound wisdom from Phil Laak.
Jungleman is probably one of my favorite people to be around. I would actually pay to have him near me for an entire year or 2 years or 5 years.
Oh my God. Oh.
I just could never get tired of him.
I think in this format, he applies some stuff that he knows in cash to this, which I think doesn't always apply correctly.
Watch out if he loses a pot.
It makes me so mad.
Hopefully I can, you know, deliver some kind of bad beat or beat him in a big pot just to catch some Jungleman steam.
He's the kind of guy that I think he has a really good heart. He's just, we're all wired differently.
If you ask Jungleman a question, you can be anybody, whether you know him close to him. He will do his best to give you the answer right out of the gate. That's why Antonio can sometimes have some questions with him, and all of a sudden he's in these awkward question moments because he doesn't know how to say, let's not talk about it. He just always just says the answer.
If you can punch me one time, would you accept?
Yes.
He is such a sweetheart in so many ways, the Jungleman too. He's just like...
He really is. You gotta love and you gotta respect someone who's always saying what's on his
is it
mind.
okay I just call you Colman?
You know,
I like
he's just
Colman.
honest. He's straight, dope, genuine, honest all the time.
In every way, you know, like in how he's feeling, his emotions, what he says, just every way he's just honest. It's like he says what everyone else is thinking when they're in that spot. And some people can hide it though, you know. I think most people can hide it, but
Fold.
I'll tell you how tilted Jungleman is. Jungleman is so tilted that Antonio's not even sure if it's safe to needle him.
yeah, I think Antonio's gonna lay off a little on this one.
Seat 5, call.
Now, I know we can see that Phil Laak's got a good hand, but this is not really a spot because Koon should be quite strong here. I mean, based on everything we've seen. He should probably, shouldn't he, have a hand that can call a shove, or?
He doesn't have to have a hand that will call a shove. I mean, he could be expressing some frustration. Plus, you know, he's still opening like a very wide range. He's not folding like 9-10 suited, or there's like a lot of hands that he's opening that he's not calling a 3-bet.
So then, in that case, a shove might have actually, you know, Laak. He needs to gamble a little bit, needs to pick up chips. Maybe that was a spot.
That was a decent spot. Yeah, that would have been a decent spot, but it's a lot of chips. You know, like him shoving there for 179,000 would have been that's like a 40 big blind shove. So I actually prefer the call over the shove.
Seat 6
or the raise. Wow.
Yes, wow is right.
Wow, even more of a wow.
Why is Koon checked there? Is it just that it was too strong? I mean, you've got Laak in the small blind who's, you know, a bit of a loose cannon.
I'm so confused right now. The fact that
can't overall. You don't need to slow play your hands when Jeff Gross has flatted you and Phil Laak is in the pot, right?
Both of their check. I mean, Jason's check surprises me more than JG's check. but
5
they
check.
both still surprise me. I can't believe that this has gone check, check.
So is Jason Koon thinking to himself, I need to just check, 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 because Laak is liable to just move all in at any point with nothing? Is that possible?
I guess that's his rationale, but at the same time, he's capable of doing that on any street. How this has gotten to the river without a bet it's scary.
Seat 6 bet 30,000.
Wow.
It's an absolutely sick river card, and Jeff Gross is going to get just so lucky. He's not going to lose a chip right now. He's not going to lose a chip.
It's amazing how all these situations they always work out for Jeff Gross. Like no matter what the situation.
JG,
like, he should be broke in this hand. You know,
should be broke in this hand.
And somehow he found a way to get away for just a pre-flop
Seat 3
raise.
raise 110 total.
I don't even know if Phil Laak's going to call here, and I just wonder if I mean, it's not just because of the hands out there that Jason Koon's made a mistake, right? I mean, he's made a mistake here.
I think so. I can never see that Jason is taking this line as a bluff against someone like Phil Laak, who's just proven to be so reckless.
What a strange hand.
It was the perfect river too to create this situation. I mean, only an ace would have made this happen.
It's probably just a chop. They're probably just stealing with the chop.
And that's a very, it's not a terrible assessment.
I feel like if you had an ace, you might have c-bet the flop, ace queen.
I think Jason, that's the other thing. Jason could be raising here. He could be raising here with a weak ace, knowing that Phil does not have a 4 and does not have ace king.
You might just have ace queen. You could have like ace 9. No, maybe. Doubtful. Oh my God, kid.
At this point, I think that Phil is calling for a chop if he's calling.
Sure than nothing.
Yeah.
That's a good bluff.
Kid,
I folded a good hand.
I found a way to lose that hand. I don't know how.
I think JG just said he found a way to lose that hand. He doesn't know how, but he managed to
played
find
it brilliantly. I mean, he found a way to just like mint money in a sense.
So yeah, he found a way to lose the absolute minimum in a spot where he should be broke.
And for Jason Koon, doing well, second position in chips, but wow, I mean, he could have almost run away with the Premier League right there.
I'm in a really good spot. I should at least be playing heads up for the final table, and if I put up a good number today, I'll be a favorite to just be one of the top 4. Now the pressure's kind of off, so everyone else, I'm watching them squirm and see all the draw stands, and for me, I'm just going to keep with my game plan, probably put a little more pressure on than I have been, and see how it goes.
I'm pretty confident going to this table today. Anytime playing poker, I always go in just trusting my gut. My first instinct, I always go with it. So this is going to be just the same thing.
I need to have a pretty good score. I mean, 4 people have to finish below me for me to make the heads up, which is kind of my goal at this point. And I think in order to do that, I have to have a pretty good show today. Like I'm probably going to have to get a minimum 4th and probably like 3rd or better to really keep myself in the running going into the last heat.
This is the Party Poker Premier League, where heat number 5 represents one last chance for some to secure the points that they need to remain in the competition. Time to head back to the action.
Getting busy here at the Playground Poker Club in Montreal, in the main poker room and on the TV table here. Battling it out in heat number 5 for anywhere between 0 points and 14 points, with 4 at the table playing their final heat of Season 7.
Right in the middle. That's probably
you can't
somewhere.
be a genius if you just fold an ace. Now, if you folded a 4 and I had a boat,
Seat
you're
6
a genius.
raise 9,500.
Not genius.
You just had ace queen, right?
I had a monster. My hand was
Laak
so good. It's
raising it up with the 7-3 on the button. Shak makes the call with 8-7 suited.
I guess there was 2 clubs out there, so like ace X and clubs.
And you know what? All I'm going to say is I'm very curious what you had, and it's a very interesting hand.
And dream situation for Brian
Two of
Rast.
the best sandwich. I got you here, Phil here,
Picking
and
up
I'm
the
just
kings when Phil Laak raises the button.
Please make a hand, and
Yeah,
just couldn't come.
especially when Phil has been known to
Seat 8 re-raise
not release his
47,000
hand.
total.
Not that spot.
Fold.
I mean,
I don't think you're bluffing. I think you
my
have like.
bluff's blowing them off the chop.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm considering, or a boat.
He can never have
one of the 2. But with that being said, if you are bluffing them off a chop,
Can I take it to the next level?
Seat
Oh
7,
my
you
God.
raise all in.
Say if you like, if I
All in call.
Wow, and that's Dan Shak.
Wow, Jax. I thought you were just
Oh
making
my
a
God!
move.
Look what he rolls over though. The 7-8 of clubs. That's the hand he doesn't want to see.
That's how he wins, you know?
No, I'm saying that's the hand he doesn't want to see, Shacky.
I thought he was on a move.
I kind of want to see it.
That's like the one.
This
What is
hand
that spot for
perfectly
move?
sums up Dan's play. You know, like he'll just play tight for
I knew you were
like
light.
5 orbits, not play a hand, and then he'll just decide, okay, I'm gonna go for it this hand. But you know, when someone wakes up with kings, they're not folding.
He's gotten a bit unlucky here, Dan Shak, the defending champion. He's run into it.
Yeah.
Tried to make a play.
3, actually.
And he's going to have another heat to play, Sorel, but... Oh, wow.
Against anyone else. Rast is going to have a fit.
4 or 9.
Although I don't want to hear Jungle telling me how bad he's running at like 14 points or whatever.
Oh, God. Your name, Shacky.
That's the bagel. He has me. Wow.
I don't know if he has you. I think you have about 2,000 left.
No, I have more. I have like...
The greens are... Oh,
That was a blow up.
My guess is he'll be in a spot in the last heat, Dan Shak, where he not only has to win Sorel, but he has to win and have a certain order of finish. Maybe have someone else not come in second.
Good luck, guys.
See you, buddy.
Big gap now between Brian Rast and the rest of the field, with Laak and Jungleman still holding on. 0 points for Dan Shak, the defending champion, mathematically not out, but only a miracle can get him into the top 8 now.
It's a blowout.
Wow.
Blinds going to 3 and 6,000, and Sorel, with all the computations and permutations, it's really hard to keep track sometimes of what's going on. But I guess what you can say right now is Dan Shak, a big favorite to be in the elimination zone, and right now Phil Laak in big trouble on the short stack, and maybe a favorite to be down there, and also Jungleman with his short stack, you know, looking very treacherous, actually, his road through here. If he was to be next out, he could also be in big trouble. What are the dynamics in play right now for Esfandiari against Rast? This is a hand he could flat, or he could 3-bet.
Rast raised from under the gun +1, so
Well, it's really under the gun, yeah.
And Antonio raised here, so I mean his hand is very strong, and I like the raise. It doesn't feel like Rast is going to get away from this hand. I think he's gonna call here. Yeah, given that Rast has like more of a cash game background and he's comfortable playing post flop, I think that Rast is definitely gonna call here rather than 4-bet.
I mean, both these guys have only played 2 heats, Sorel. Esfandiari has 14 points, Rast has 6. However, Rast has nearly twice as many chips as Antonio. So, I mean, it's a disaster for Antonio to get 7 points here. I wonder.
I'm all in.
Wow.
And Antonio has to fold. Antonio has to fold. I'm pretty sure he's regretting 3-betting right now, but
that's a really tough spot.
He has to fold, Sorel, because even though Antonio's got 14 points, going into the last heat with 15 is going to handcuff him so much.
He's looking at the sheet.
Yeah.
He's looking at the sheet, and with that logic...
I mean, Rast could have done this quite light, but...
If Antonio is folding ace-king here, Rast should be doing this extremely light.
I think this is the first time when Antonio did something without really considering the Premier League implications.
Right.
He just said to himself, well, Rast is probably raising a lot here because he's got 700,000. You know, I'm going to 3-bet him for value. He's called!
He's called.
And he's not happy. Antonio is not happy right now.
I knew I should have just flatted. God, I'm such an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, it makes way more sense to flat pre-flop given the point system.
I knew it too.
Punishing poker gods for this call, because I don't know if it's right.
Oh, ace on the win.
And King Rast goes forward.
It's not over.
It's not.
It's not over. It's 4%er, but it's got to be runner.
Oh.
So this feels like Montreal here last year when I had a set and it came. I had 4.
Nice playing with you, boys.
He's trying to do the move. 10?
Nope. 4 sides though.
Good game, buddy.
It was a sweat.
And Sorel, obviously, you know, you could say, oh, it's just a race, but I think in terms of the Premier League, Antonio, maybe not a mistake, but he will regret the way he played that hand. Esfandiari now 15 points through 3 heats. He's certainly not out of it, but he's going to have his work cut out for him. Great news for a lot of the other players. Jungleman, especially. Esfandiari is one of the people that Jungleman would have been worried about passing him if he had had the early exit for the top 8. Incredible stuff.
That's 1 point here for Antonio with 1 heat left to play, so 15 total right now. Talk to me about the last hand there with the ace-king versus the jacks, and you're not very happy with your decision, you said.
No, I mean, Rast is opening very light because he has all the chips, and he really just kind of has to win, so he doesn't really care. And, you know, I wake up with ace-king on the button. It's a monster. And I'm always 3-betting on the button a lot, so it looks weak, but it was a spot where I really didn't need to do that. I should have just flatted, seen a flop, and gone from there because I shouldn't have taken a flip. I'm a little upset with my play there.
Towards the middle of the pack with 1 heat still left to play, so there are definitely still some more points out there available for you. Good luck.
Thank you.
2 out, 5 more to go here in heat number 5 of Premier League 7.
It's gonna hurt. This one would hurt.
Interesting. 100K, let's go. Get the Jungleman out.
Makes me so mad.
Welcome back. The table is down to 6 as Antonio Esfandiari busts out of the heat and is very disappointed with his performance today. Now on just 15 points with 1 heat left to play. Things are getting interesting here at the Premier League, so let's head back to the table.
And so Brian Rast, who was a little salty the last couple of days about saying he has had some really bad spots, hasn't gotten good cards. He's had the kings, doubled up with those, doubled up with the jacks. Things are good.
Like right now, I mean, he's got, well, there's just too many stacks that are massive in like relative to the blinds. There's people with like 40, 60, 70 big blind stacks. I mean, you just can't, you can't justify shoving. You can't really justify going all, you know, raising a ton of hands. But when the blinds go up, it'll be interesting to see how he handles the big stack if he still has it.
12,000 call.
And Phil Laak, he's given enough action tonight that you can't begrudge him to get a little bit with the 2 kings. He's certainly earned it.
Check.
Colman, though, understands that Laak now is kind of freewheeling in that he's looking to get his chips into gamble, so you don't really need to try and, you're not going to try and push him around right now, are you?
No.
Colman?
I think Colman's strategy is going to be revolving around playing as many pots with Phil Laak as possible. As it should be, I mean.
But I mean, between calling here and shoving on Phil, overall, which do you like?
Between calling and shoving, well, it looks like he likes shoving.
Raise.
Yeah. I don't like calling, so if I had to choose, I would shove.
All
But
in, call.
I might even fold.
It was all in.
Yeah, you know what? I like the shove.
A lot less than that.
I'll tell you honestly, normally I'm always prepared to walk. This one, I have a sentimental push for my emotion. It's gonna hurt. This one would hurt. Most of the time I'm very good. Can you give like 4-second pause so I can align myself with if I lose? Hold on. Okay, a 7 can roll off a queen. Doesn't help my 7. Okay, I'm ready.
Phil is the only guy, if he loses this pot, Sorel,
it.
he is out of the Premier League. Like, just out. I don't think there's any way possible he can make the top 8 if he gets knocked out right now.
I'm still ready. I can lose it. It's okay.
And the double up for Phil Laak. He was.
Sit-ups, man. That was a good play.
Chill, man.
Oh, he really is special.
He wants it. He's surfing now.
You can stack him. I'm flying.
I'll let you get
I like what he said, which is that in any other tournament, he's really prepared to die.
Can I say him, Phil?
He doesn't want to in this Premier League.
He's having way too much fun.
Yeah.
Philip Courtney Laak. He's a really good friend of mine, definitely unique. Nobody is like Phil Laak. He is the one and only.
The problem is I might be playing dirty.
He's probably the most interesting guy in the field. I mean, he's something really special. He just plays a little differently than everyone. I just can't wait to see what style, what personality you're gonna see.
I just love it so much. I can't just let through. I'm sorry.
He sees everything completely different than any person I've ever been around in my life, including his poker game.
Oh, he was this, this live player who just sits around and waits for the nuts. He's crazy. He's really crazy, and he can just bluff anywhere.
We've played some crazy pots together over the years.
Yes, I won one versus Phil. Oh.
I'm looking forward to playing with him and just hanging out with him for this week in Montreal for sure.
A little bit, but
the mood has lightened now that Antonio has left, and not that they don't enjoy having him at the table, but everybody at this table is looking rosier with him gone.
Yeah, Antonio was one of those players that everyone wanted to see bust. I mean, for Dan, I guess it's sort of, he's indifferent, but anyone in the middle of the pack is going to be rooted against.
So, Jeff Gross thought about this. I mean, has he 3-bet to call a shove? Interesting.
I don't think he knows.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows if he's going to call a shove.
Check this out. Rast thinks there might be a spot here. He thinks this might be a spot.
Looks like he's going for it.
I mean, is this a sick spot? Is this a little bit, is this sick? And this is, I am this sick, he's saying. I'm this sick.
God, I love Rast.
I am this sick. He's pretty sick, isn't he?
He is pretty sick. He knows that Colman is opening light. Gross is recognizing that Colman is opening light, but probably has a hand, but simply cannot call or shove with less than queens. And even then, it's tough.
I'll tell you, this is not the first time. Jeff Gross is like, you know, you're so happy when you do well in the Premier League and have a lot of points, but actually, it starts to make things get complicated, and you have to make complicated decisions.
Oh, Rasty, put me in a tough spot. All in.
All in.
Wow.
And he did it! He did it!
Wow.
He actually
After
did it!
all that.
He did it!
Wow. It's amazing because
he
By the
dumped
way, I
down
did not
and
have
did
two
it.
queens, and I would not take that long. 2 queens, and I did not have 2 queens. I'm playing tight, but not that tight, Rasty.
it's great because in my mind, it was 0% that he was going to call.
Yeah, I just decided, you're just one of the, it's a perfect spot for you. I was just deciding if it was if you had ace-king, if you were going to, you have so much chips, do you call off?
I probably could have ripped on you.
And, Jeff Gross is a guy who every time they've set a bar for him, he has flown over it. Have a look at the leaderboard. Brian Rast is still out in front with nearly 1 million chips. As he is currently at the bottom of the league table, it could be his chance to jump up the league standings tonight. Those in trouble are Phil Laak and Daniel Jungleman Cates. As both are playing their last heat, a bad result tonight could see them eliminated from the Premier League. Heat 5 action continues here in Montreal after the break. Welcome back to the Playground Poker Club in Montreal for Season 7 of Premier League Poker. Those making their debut here at the Premier League are certainly doing well, and when you look back through the history of this event, it has been the newbies who won through and have been crowned champion. JC Tran overcame Tony G to win Season 3. David Benjamin beat Luke Schwartz in Season 4. Scott Seaver beat arch rival Jungleman in Vienna, and Dan Shak beat Sam Trickett in London. Can a debutante take down the title again? Blinds are going to go to 4 and 8,000.
Yeah, I really wouldn't either.
Laak
I
and
almost just put it
Jungleman, both on the bubble. Of course, if Jungleman goes out next, he will have 20 points. And if Laak can get 19, he'll be ahead of Duhamel Esfandiari, Scott Seaver, Vanessa Selbst, and Dan Shak. Guaranteed. That's 5 people.
But how many of those players are playing tomorrow?
Well, all of them.
All of them. So
yeah. I mean, those are only the ones who are playing tomorrow.
17,000.
So to get 2 people of those to pass you, actually, it's not as likely as you might think, given what the dynamics will be.
Like 100 total.
Colman's asked for a countdown of Jungleman stack.
Seat 1 re-raise all in.
Makes me so mad. What the?
Oh my
I was
God.
going to do that, but now it's like way more often. So insane.
Fold. Probably giving Rast a clue. Jungle, he just puts it all out there. He doesn't mean anything by it. There's nothing personal. He just puts it all out there.
I had 8, so I call.
I'd be happy he did that. Yeah. I call you. We're flipping.
Oh, really?
Good spot for you. Yeah. I have the 9-8 suited.
Huh?
Yo, you have to think. You have 100K, buddy.
He's having a good time.
100K. Let's go. Get the Jungleman out.
Just every spot, everyone else gets me so goddamn easy too. It's like, oh, I know what I do there. 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 Okay, maybe I don't know what there, but then like I get in that spot.
He's such a good dude. Like he just.
120.
No one who doesn't know him would ever know, but he's like, he's the man.
He is.
He's great. Because that's exactly what I would be thinking in my head, but I just wouldn't say it. I just wouldn't be saying it.
You would just sit there, smile, and the voice in your head would be saying those exact words.
Correct. Pretty much verbatim.
Colman could have had sticky fingers.
Seat 6 raise
Put
18,000.
the little raise in.
Fold.
Obviously, he's calling Jungleman.
I'm all in.
Seat 1 re-raise all in.
I mean, I just wonder.
I think Coleman's playing this correctly as well.
Could be 9-6. Could be 9-6, Colman. I've seen this is the mastery area of how you do it. This is how he does it.
I wonder if open shoving or folding were the 2 proper plays for Phil with this type of hand.
He has made the declaration correct. I remember correctly. All of his chips are in there, so it's up to me to fold or call.
Are you hesitating because you know this is a math question that a guy like Scott Seaver could figure out in 10 seconds?
Yeah.
And you don't want to do the calculations?
Well, that's part of it. But also, I just think that his hand is basically has the same value as air.
Fold.
I'll pay you cash money to see it.
How much?
I don't know. How much do you need? I made $20,000 last night standing outside. Like, what? Yeah. The money flows free in Montreal.
$20.
Wow. You didn't do it for 200.
No, I don't want to do it.
I mean, Dan could be shoving King Jack suited, Jack 10 suited.
Yeah.
Could Dan shove Jack 9 suited? I mean,
when he asks for $20, it's weaker than Ace 9. It's got to be Ace 8, Ace 7, Ace 6. It's one of those 3 hands. Once I don't pay once you offer $20, I know what your 3 hands can be.
I'm not shoving 9-6 on you, Phil.
No, but it's either Ace 7, 6, or 8. If you had like pocket jacks, was your price $20?
No, I mean,
think
I'm not
about
trying
it.
to make it expensive for you.
I maybe missed one, Rast.
I don't think it was price sensitive.
Fold.
I may have missed one.
now he should
I didn't take a Van
look
Halen
to
these guys.
induce,
I
right?
picked a gas
Nines
one,
is
you know?
strong enough to try and induce.
Yeah, I think so. I think like Phil should have been calling the last hand with Ace Jack plus.
That's the hand where if I lose the match.
And this is bad news for Rast.
Great news for Phil Laak.
Seat 8 re-raise all in.
And Rast has gone all in, and Colman's got the jacks. Look at his face.
Wow. I wonder if he's just trying to get Phil in or... No, this is a genuine decision, but I think he has to call here. I mean,
Can I see a sheet?
My range here would probably be 10s plus, Ace Queen suited plus, but even Ace Queen suited would be a tough call.
He's asked for the sheet, and he'll look at this. If
Seal
he
the
gets
deal right
busted
here.
out right now, he'll have 37 points, and Jeff Gross will still be in. So
Marty guaranteed.
And he knows, I guess he knows that if he folds here, he's likely to move up a spot.
Right.
But the truth is that he actually, because he has to post a score, he kind of has to beat Jeff Gross badly in this. I mean,
yeah, but he has to know that Rast is just calling, Rast is just shoving so many hands against Phil, who's opening so wide at this point.
He's going for it. And
Jack's is just too strong.
Like, now actually Phil, who could never fold
this
those
really what
nines,
happened? I mean,
actually he kind of has to, right?
5 checkers out, and then he put out a bit. Did you say all in or big
said all-
this bet?
he said
You
all
said all in,
in.
and you just said I call. You put all your chips in. So 2 opponents have all their money in right
I think
now.
at this point it seems like an easy fold for Phil. Like, I don't think Dan is ever calling here with 8s.
I mean, I can't beat you. I can beat you. I'm racing you, and I can't beat you. Wow, you have 2 jacks or 2. How do you have 2 jacks here?
It's an easy fold for Phil at this point.
That's good.
Dan, he realizes it was a great spot, and now all of a sudden this opens up.
Yeah, I want you to go in with me.
Yeah, I just can't handle
Look at,
jacks.
I want to bust you. Look at the sheet. I really want to. I need you to go out for me to make the finals.
I know.
You know? I mean, that's.
And I know that. And I have a big hand, so I have to run with that one.
We would have raced, right?
Yeah. No.
Oh, no, you had a bigger pair?
Yeah.
So everybody at the table rooting for Rast, I think.
That would be so painful.
Nobody has spades.
Are they? Well, they all move up a spot.
They all move up
Yeah,
a
they
spot,
do.
that's right. But, oh my God.
Chill.
But what?
But
what?
But some people want Rast to bust.
You would have beat me too. You would have beat me. And I couldn't. I have no recourse. I can't stop you from seeing that I have 9s. You would have hit a deuce on me. Here.
Even if Rast lost that pot, he still has a lot of chips. So yeah.
That was quite epic.
Fighting with you is something
Dan
epic,
Colman,
bro.
this is
I'm just
3
gonna,
points for
I
him.
don't know.
I'm sure Colman knows inside his head how good or bad that play was.
What play?
So with that knockout, Rast increases his chip lead to 1.3 million. He is on fire and well on his way to winning this heat. As for Dan Colman, he has now played 4 heats and is in the clubhouse and can be quite satisfied with a successful Premier League up to this point.
Dan Coleman's qualifying stages are complete, 37 points, which means you're guaranteed a spot at the final table. But what do you need to have happen right now for you to go in as the chip leader?
I guess I need Jeff to bust right away at this heat, and then next heat just go out early. But I think there's not a good chance of that because everybody's going to be folding to him, you know, trying to move up in spots.
Dan Colman actually guaranteed he is to be at that final table, but all of a sudden, he may not be the chip leader. This is huge news for the Jungleman and for Phil Laak and Jason Koon. Obviously, Rast and Gross are quite happy with what's going on. The math seems to suggest that both Jungleman and Phil Laak have increased their chances of getting in the top 8. Jungleman may be there for sure. Jason Koon is there for sure now with 5 points at least.
The top 8? Yeah, Jason's going to make it. Now,
Jungleman's going to be posting 22 at least now.
C5 raised 24,000.
Phil Laak now guaranteed to post 19. I mean, I wonder if this is the play for Phil Laak.
Seat 6, re-raise, all in.
I'm not sure it is. I'm not sure that's the play.
All in call.
All right, JG.
110 total.
Jungleman is happy.
Jungleman is very happy to see
Folded that
this.
Philly boy.
But I don't know if Phil can fold.
So if I get
really
5,
don't know.
I'm gonna
I mean,
be
but you
19.
know, JG is not. He's not known to open the button light either.
Yeah. Your hand's 100%. Oh, I could have folded that. That would have been so sick. Or flat and try and steal. No.
I think Phil can
He's playing
fold.
really careful. I could have made a hero fold. Sorel made one of those hero folds. You guys are tough.
Phil, far from
I might still get the heads up. Well, yeah.
Yeah, you can win still. No, you can't.
Oh, that'll do it.
Is that all?
I mean, his Premier League is not over, Phil Laak. Let's be clear. He is
I don't see how
going
to
to
win.
be
Yeah.
alive, but he's going to have to be one of those guys on the sidelines hoping things go a certain way.
Hoping people bust in a certain way.
could've
Yeah.
folded
And he might have, with 2 more points, he might now be like 33 to 35% to make the final 8. And with 2 more points, he might have been over 50%.
That would have been a sick fold.
I feel like Phil Laak could have used 2 more points. I mean, he's going to be sick,
We'll go to the
Phil,
bathroom. I'll
if
be
it
right
turns
back.
out that 20 points get you in.
It was fun. And now I think there's, there's always hope for the heads-up thing and stuff. There's a lot at stake with a lot to be said for just waiting. I had way more than trouble. But these are the decisions we make in these things, and we go for it.
That's true. And now the decisions are all left on the shoulders of the players that are still in this heat and the ones playing in the final heat. And then we will know who's at the final table.
After 4 knockouts in this heat, these are the current league standings. Those highlighted still have a chance to win the maximum 14 points. Sitting comfortably in the top 4 places for the moment are Dan Colman, Sorel Mizzi, Jeff Gross, and Jason Koon. Chip leader Brian Rast, however, who is only on 6 points, now has a chance to leap into the playoff zone if he wins this crucial league match.
Next time here in Montreal, Heat 5 draws to a conclusion and the final league standings will almost be complete. Whose final table dreams remain and whose are over? Find out next time here at the Party Poker Premier League.
You play that garbage?
It's pretty bad, dude. It's all good, buddy. Do what you got to do.
My mind's just absolutely blown.
Premier League stuff is sick, bro.
I am in Barney Rubble trouble.